Shalom everyone, we are on our second session in the study of the Talmud Sephirot, the Tree of Life, commentary of Rabbi Ashlag for the Tree of Life of the Arizal, Rabbi Isaac Lurie, and we will read again the original text of the Tree of Life, which is the bold letters in the middle. I do not show English translation, as I said before. English translation is very, very limited. You need to stick to the Hebrew. Even the Hebrew translation will be wrong because we learn every word as we go. So the verse says, "Da כי טרם שנאצלו הנאצלים ונבראו הנבראים, היה אור עליון פשוט ממלא כל המציאות." You should know that before the emanatees or the emanated beings are being emanated, ne'etzlu is the verb, ne'etzalim is the noun. Ne'etzlu means the action of emanating. Ne'etzalim means the ones who have been emanated. V'nivru anivraim, nivru is the verb, the verb to create. Nivraim is whatever was created, the noun. Haya or Elyon, there was a divine light, pashut, simple, okay, but it's not just simple, we'll see. Memale kol hametziut, filling up all of reality. ולא היה שום מקום פנוי בבחינת אוויר ריקני וחלל. And there was no available space, available place, like empty air. We know that in normal language there's nothing like this. And void, חלל. אלא היה הכל ממולא מנור אינסוף פשוט, but it was all filled up with, Or Ensof, the light of the endless, the simple light, or expanding light, as we're going to see. ולא היה לו לא בחינת ראש ולא בחינת סוף. And this light had no head, which means no beginning, ולא בחינת סוף and no end. אלא הכל היה אור אחד פשוט, but it was all, again, one simple expanding light. שווה בהשוואה אחת, in total equality, or equality. And this is what is called the endless light. Okay, so we started in our last session trying to explain the term of time in a universe that there is no time, that we know that time exists only in our imagination, but in the spiritual universe we learn there is no time. What we do have is another structure. What does it mean? Our minds are very limited, which means we cannot, it's like watching a movie. I gave this example, watching a movie. Our brain cannot see more than one frame at a time. And the frames come as 24 frames in a second. Okay, that's what our brain can take. When we see the 24 frames a second, we perceive it as motion. Okay, but there's no motion in a movie. It just frames being projected to our retina, and then to our nervous system sight. Okay? Now, when we are talking about, which means our brain cannot, which means visual sense cannot perceive more than one frame at a time. Okay? Then we put the frames next to each other and we create the feel of time. However, when we see the present, the past is gone and will never come back. When we see the present, the future is not there yet. it will come, but it's not there. And we said in the spiritual world that has no existence, which means in the spiritual world what had been is still there. Same way when you're watching a movie, let's say you're watching a file of a recorded movie, or what do you see? When you see one frame, you see that frame, but what happened to the previous frames in the movie? All of them, they're still there in the file. But the fact you do not see them, it does not mean they do not exist. Also, the rest of the movie that I didn't watch yet, they're already there in the file. The fact that my eyes cannot see them does not mean they're not there. Same thing with reality. And therefore we said, when we say that A came before B, that event A preceded event B, it means that when B came, A is still there. Not just it's still there, you cannot understand B without A. Same way with watching a movie from the middle. You can't understand if you didn't watch it from the beginning. Okay? You are on the 25th floor of a building. You're sitting inside, you can't see the 24 stories below, and you can't see the 50 stories above. Okay? Does that mean they do not exist? They exist. You can see them, doesn't mean they don't exist. Which means, again, whatever we experience as time is we are traveling through time. Time is not changing. The past is there. The future is there. We are the ones whose perception is changing. Like I gave an example, sitting in a train, looking through the window, it looks like everything is going so fast. Houses, buildings, trees, whatever. Nothing is moving outside. We are moving in the train, and whatever we see rushing through the window, we are the ones who are rushing along them. Okay, so when we say that A was before B, even in our materialistic way of thinking, we mean that if A was before B, it means that A was the cause for B. Like, as we said, in the spiritual world. Which means, when we tell somebody, and I gave this example again, we ate by you on Shabbat, and then the whole family that ate at your place got food poisoning on Sunday. You did many other things before Sunday. Why just mentioning eating in my place? Because you mean to say that the food we ate at your place caused all of us to have food poisoning. Which means when we use the word time, it's about cause and effect. So how is that important? Because here, when we use the word terem, terem is a Hebrew word saying before. Okay? And what is that? Before there were emanations, before there were creations, before there were emanatees and creatures, there was divine light filling up all of reality. What does that say? Not that the divine light does not exist anymore, okay? But it says simply that all the emanations and the creations, everything was already included in that divine light that fills all reality then, now, and forever. And because it is divine and endless, it never changes. Okay? So what is changing? Again, our limited perception and reality. Okay, whatever I just said, what does it mean for us? So let's see Rabbi Ashlag's commentary. So what does it mean? There was a divine light. Okay, over here it's like there's a problem. It's the letter Bet next to Or Elyon, the supreme divine light. What is that? And Rabbi Ashlag explains, Hainu Haor Hamitpashet Me'atzmut Habore. This is the light that is extending and expanding from the essence of the Creator. Okay? Which means Hainu, Haor, the light, Hamitpashet, that is expanding and extending, Me'atzmut, for the essence, Habore, the Creator, Itbarach, blessed be He. What does it mean? And he explains, Veda, you should know, Shekol, that all, Hashemot v'atorim, all the names and the adjectives, Habaim b'chokhmat Kabbalah, that come, that you see in the wisdom of Kabbalah, Einam chas v'shalom b'atzmut haboreh. Neither of those names or adjectives are relating to the essence of the Creator. It's a very important concept. Ela, but, רק באור המתפשט מעצמותו יתברך. It's only in the light extending from its essence. Okay? Which means, there is this concept that is called Atzmut Habore. Atzmut means the essence. Also, it rhymes with the Hebrew word etzem. In Hebrew means also bones. Okay, why? Because the bones, they are the part of the physical human body that the essence is there. We know that if you want to look for a bone marrow transplantation, what's bone marrow? We are talking about stem cells. Stem cells, they're like the closest to the essence in among the cells of your body. Okay? And it's not by mistake that they can be found in the bones. And when you want to say that you feel something all the way to the core, you mean deep in your bones. At least in Hebrew you say so. Because it's like etzem, bone, and essence, it's the same word. Okay, so when we talk about the essence of the Creator, it's not a name. It's the essence of the one who created our universe. Please note, we have no idea who is he. We just know he created the universe. That's why we call him the Creator. We know him by what he did. Does he have other businesses? We have no idea. So we know he created this universe, so we call him the Creator. Okay? But what's in the essence of the Creator, we have no idea, we'll never have an idea. We can only have an idea about the light. The moment we call it light, this is already something that we can give a name to. If we give a name to it, it means it's not the essence of the Creator. It is something that radiates, being projected, coming out, extending from the essence. Okay? But we have no idea what's in the essence. And therefore, you should know that all the Shemot, names, Toarim, adjectives, Habaim that come in the Chokhmat Kabbalah, in the wisdom of Kabbalah, Einam chas v'shalom b'atzmut haboreh. God forbid, they are not related to the essence, Atzmut Haboreh, of the Creator. Ela, but rak ba'or mitpashet b'atzmuto. Everything that we can give it a name, it's not in the essence of the Creator, it's already something that extended from there. Okay? By the way, whatever you can think about, see, touch, perceive, okay, is extending from the Creator. But it's not Him. Okay? Very important to remember that. Omnam, however, be'atzmuto yitbarach, in His essence, blessed be He, אין לנו שום מילה והגה. there's not one word or syllable that can relate to the essence, klal, at all. כי זה הכלל, this is the rule, כל מה שלא נשיג לא נדעהו בשם. Whatever we cannot perceive or achieve or acquire by concept, consciousness, understanding, לא נדעהו בשם, if we cannot perceive and understand, we cannot give it a name, we cannot know it by or through a name. וזכור זאת ואל תיכשל. Remember that, otherwise you're going to fail. Again, what does Rabbi Ashlag say over here? Whatever names we know about the creation and about the Creator, whatever we know about the Creator did A and it did B and C and so on, it's not Him that we're speaking about, we're talking about what comes out of His essence. Whatever is being projected from there, whatever is evolving from there. So all the names, all the words, all the concepts we can talk about, it's only about the evolution of that eternal light that extends from the Creator Himself. But it had nothing to do with the Creator essentially. Okay? Any questions about it? Because this is really, really important. Otherwise, we make terrible mistakes if we don't understand that stuff. Which means, all the names that we know about the Creator in Hebrew, and in Hebrew, God has so many names. The whole Torah is the names of God. We have some more powerful names. We have less powerful names. We have names like the Tetragrammaton, like Aleph Dalet Nun Yud, like Elokim, Shin Dalet Yud. We have names like the 72 names, or the name of 42 letters, the Ana Bekoach. All of these names, they are just names that basically connect to different illuminations extending from the Creator Himself. Neither of these names describe or define the Creator Himself. Is that clear? However, whatever we want in everyday's life is not the names, it's not actions, it is the light of the Creator that extends and expands from that place. So when we say here, O Elyon Pashut, O means in Hebrew light. Elyon is supreme, divine. Pashut. Now in Hebrew, you ask, most Israelis, what's Pashut? Pashut is simple. But here Rabbi Ashlag says Pashut comes from the word mitpashet, extending. So the word Pashut Kabbalistically does not mean simple, it means extending. So it's not a simple light, but it's an extending light. It is simple because the source of the light is very simple. It's all about giving. When it starts to get different garments, shapes, structures, then it looks like a variable, like a the light can extend into a creature, an animal, or a vegetable, a plant, or an object, inanimate, into a human being, and so there's so many of them, and so on. But it's the same light. It just extends and expands into different shapes, different covers, garments, but it's the same light. So the light itself, there's a game of words, is simple and it extends. It's the same meaning. Okay? In a one word. You can't do it in English. That's why you cannot translate it. Because when a moment you translate it into one word, you miss the others. Okay. Any questions about that? Okay. The next concept is Gimel. Memale kol hametziut. And it says, which means that that in the beginning, just before anything happened, before there was the emanation and creation and all other worlds, there was only that simple light. Memale kol hametziut. Memale means filling up. Kol, all. Hametziut, reality. And here we get, on base of what we just said, one of the most amazing explanations of how reality is being structured. Gimel. ולכאורה תמוה מאוד. And it looks like it's very, very tamua means something that awakens wondering. It's like, this is very wonderful, not in the English meaning, but in Hebrew it's like, I can't believe it. What does that mean? הלא המדובר כאן בטרם שנבראו העולמות. You're telling me that before there were any universes, any olamot, any realities, that's in the beginning of all beginnings, right? אם כן, איזו מציאות ישנה כאן? But so what kind of reality is there? אשר אור העליון צריך למלאותה, that the divine light needs to fill up. Okay? Which means again, it's challenging the human mind. The human mind again, we can see time by frames. But here we're talking about before all the frames, which means we are in a moment before everything, means the source of everything, which means it's holding on to the file of the whole movie. Everything was already there. And therefore, העניין, the matter is, כי כל העולמות, if we really follow what we just learned previously, today and in the previous session, okay, all the olamot, all universes, all layers, all dimensions, וכל הנשמות and all souls שישנם ועתידים להיבראות, that they are in present, ועתידים להיבראות and they are going to be created in the future by all kinds of other evolving realities, עם כל מקריהם עד לתכלית תיקונם, with all what's going to happen to them, עד לתכלית תיקונם, till they come to the complete tikkun, to the complete purpose of their creation. Tachlit is purpose. Tikkun of their correction. הנה הם כולם כבר כלולים באינסוף ברוך הוא. They are already, all included already, in the endless, blessed be He. That's how the Kabbalah is called, the endless, blessed be He. Because He is the source of everything. Okay? So let me repeat. So if I want to say that we use the word terem, before the emanations, before the creations, there was this divine light filling up reality. That means that that point had everything already included. There's nothing new under the sun. Which means all realities, all creatures, all the souls, with all their evolving process till they reach total completion, all of that has already been created in the beginning. In that point we're talking about. When we're speaking about the endless light, it already included everything. And everything means really everything. So when it says that included all souls with all what's going to happen to them till they reach completion, are we saying that all the movies, all the fates of all what was created is already predetermined? Okay? Because we said that everything was already there. Not just everything, we said whatever can happen to them. That's part of the everything. Which means if that's the beginning and that's before everything, it means nothing can happen if it was not there in the endless light. In that state of reality that included everything. So where is free will? And why does it say, Akol bidei shamayim, chutz mirat shamayim? Everything is the hands of the heavens, is controlled by heavens, except the awe of heavens. So if there is a free will, here it says everything is predetermined. All the movies, whatever can happen to us is already there in the beginning, in that divine light, in that original reality that included all possible movies, all possible evolutions. Everything was there with all what can happen to each one of us. So where is free will? And understanding if there's no free will, so how can we transform into becoming creators? How can we transform in becoming closer to the Creator himself? And we're going to talk about it later on. So if there's no free will, and the only way to explain it is, and that is, it becomes much easier learning quantum mechanics. Because when you speak about quantum mechanics and all the science of physics around it, and they tell you, you see, there is an equation. And this equation, like x squared plus 3x minus 3 equals 0. And this equation has two solutions that are right. How could that be? Which means if you follow one solution, what happens to the other one? And the answer is, and that's what the scientists explain, I want to make it as simple as possible, so it's very shallow. So all the scientists, please do not be offended by my explanation. They say there are multi-universes. In one universe, one solution applies, but it does not diminish the other solution because the other solution exists in another universe. Which means, when we go through whatever we go through, and there are moments that we can step up and we can choose awareness of the awesome creation, and we can connect to that super existence of a divine existence, as existence that is enlightened by the divine light, okay, then we move into a reality that was there in the endless, a dimension, a universe in which we choose to have awe, awareness, enlightenment, and we pick up that universe. But when we choose not to follow awe and awareness, we choose to follow our bodily urges, which means we choose not to have awe, we choose to be controlled by the lower elusive emotions, the result will be another dimension, another universe. That's why when you learn physics, modern physics, you learn the term about multi-universes. Okay? And now you realize that what he says, all the universes have already been created, which means if I, in every moment in my life, not just me, every creature who has free will, the moment we have an opportunity to choose between two options, those two options do exist and they were created already in the beginning. They were there before time has been created. We can only choose between two realities, two universes. Okay? Of course, when I choose a universe that is full of my awe and awareness and my ability to overcome the negative, lower urges and needs and desires and noise, I basically move to a universe in which I have other choices, other options. It's an elevated, more energized universe in which my choices are now different. While if I stay in the previous universe, which means still being in a vicious cycle of getting upset, getting controlled, feeling abused, feeling a victim, or whatever circumstances, that means I have to go through the same thing all over again and again till I choose to get out of the box, overcome my nature, and create a new nature. And that creation, that awesome awareness, will shift my consciousness into a parallel universe, that my life will continue over there, and the other universe is still there, but I'm not aware of it. And that's a lot about, a lot of books and movies, science fiction, fantasia movies were written about this idea of parallel universes in which I move into another universe, but what happens to the me of the other universe that I left behind? Or what happened to the me in the universe I could have chosen, but I preferred not to, because I was not aware enough. But that means that all what we can go through was already created as part in the moment the universe sprouted and we'll go into it, it was already there. Everything was already there. Everything that can happen to us. We cannot write a song that was not there in the endless. And that's why we feel like we channel it in. We vent it in. We inspire. We get inspiration. We get the spirit in our reality, but it was already there since time immemorial. Okay. And therefore, that's what it means, that when we say that everything was there filling up all reality, which means all what we can consider reality, the physical, the spiritual, the divine, the metaphysical, the elusive, all of it was already there, included as one in reality, as just before everything happened. Nothing new is happening. We're just seeing whatever was written unfolding in front of our eyes. So where is our free will? Our free will is, can we overcome our innate, reactive, negative nature? And we're going to speak about more in length later on. And transform it into a divine nature. When we finally do that, we move into a parallel universe in which the energy is higher, the events are different, but whatever we experience and we see is part of what we need to experience and see. You don't like it, then you need to ascend above it. If you're going to be a victim and complain and blame everything possible, that's not going to change your reality. it's just going to just going to make it more and more real to you. Only when you learn spirituality deep enough and you commit enough to your spirituality, only then you can have a quantum leap to another parallel universe in which you are there, but it's a different you. You look in the mirror, it's a different person. Less complaining, less hating, less angry, less victim, and more creative and more in awe. You can enjoy more what reality is about. And therefore it says all the universes, all the multi-universes, all the souls that they are there and going to be created, with all their what happens to them, every aspect of what happens to each one of them, till they're completely corrected. They are all of these events, they are all included already in the endless. Bechol tifratami, with all their beauty and glory, uvechol miluam, with all their completion. What an amazing concept. Okay? So therefore, if we experience something, and it is part of the endless, whatever we experience is totally complete. So why don't we feel it is complete? So the Zohar is explaining, only when we realize, when we come to that place of an awareness of completion, only there we can appreciate how complete it was. If we don't, it means we're not there yet, and our inability of appreciating the completion of every moment in our lives, only our lack of sight, awareness, makes it partial. And when it is partial, then it's very painful. And for instance, the many things that can happen to us, the Zohar says, and when it does happen to us, it makes us be very upset, very angry, desperate, okay, hateful, even towards God. And then we go and do things in spite. You know what? There's no justice. There's injustice. I'll spite it. I'll be even worse. I'll just do my best just to destroy everything because I don't believe in anything. It's like, like a little child that is beating his mother. Why are you beating your mother? It's like without your mother, you're nothing. She feeds you. She dresses you up. She's responsible for your safety. You're not my mother anymore. I hate you. Not because reasoning is talking, because, okay, go to the street without your mother. What's going to happen? You won't be able to survive too long, right? So why are you doing it to your mother? So that's a childish behavior. We do the same thing. We get upset about reality. Only as we grow up, spiritually, only when we evolve, we look backwards and we realize, says the Zohar, if I didn't go through that pain and confusion, I would not become the person I am right now. So if I'm looking backwards when I reach greatness, and I'm asking myself, would I choose to change anything I did in the past? No, I don't. Everything was perfectly done, perfectly calculated, so I would become whoever I am. Like the words of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. When he leaves the cave, 13 years being buried in the mud, inside the cave, and his skin is full of rushes and all kinds of infections, because physically you're sitting in the dirt. And his father-in-law was a great sage. Rabbi Pinchas Ben Yair says, starts to cry, woe to me that I see you like this. Rabbi Shimon is smiling, saying, praiseworthy I am because if I wouldn't be like this, I wouldn't be whoever I am. Which means, yes, in order to reach that greatness, I needed to bury myself in mud for 13 years. But if I was like free at home, I wouldn't have the ability to focus in such lofty ideas because I would be busy with everybody's request as a leader. You can't meditate because there's always somebody asking for a favor or for help, like emergency. There are emergencies all the time when you are leading a nation, especially a nation that is under a vicious conquest, like the Roman conquest those days. Okay? But there, I was 13 years away in the mud. So I had all the ability to rise to as much as I could. And that's how I brought the Zohar to the world. And I'm not complaining about it. I know I needed that in order to get that. So I'm blessing everything, the whole thing. Be'ofen, I'm just giving a very shallow explanation, but that's an example. Like many, many times, we go through really horrible moments. But then when we grow older and wiser, and we think like, if I didn't go through those moments, I wouldn't be whoever I am, and I'm so thankful for whoever I am. That's what the Zohar is saying. That's when we reach into the highest state of awareness, which is called tshuva me'ahava. When you do tshuva, when you do really return to your original state of completion. Here, that's where we start from, completion. But now we return there thanks to all the challenges that we had on the way. When you do it out of real love to God, it means we have no complaints about, why God didn't you make it easier? No, it was easier. I won't be whoever I am. Okay? And then it says, Zedonot nefachim lezchuyot. Even the worst thing that I did out of anger, that I was doing terrible things spitefully, when I reached that consciousness of complete love to the Creator and to the creation and to the creatures, even the things I did spitefully, with venom and anger, I realized if I was not there in that painful stage, I would not be able to reach the other side of the pendulum. You know, the move of the pendulum. So then reaching a stage of completion is when you can see all the most painful moments and to see them also in awe. You didn't feel awe at that moment. You felt the opposite. But when you reach the completion, you can see all of those moments in awe. Wow, that was so much of a greatness, because the fall created the movement towards the ascension. באופן שיש לנו להבחין שני עיקרים בכללות המציאות שלפנינו. So then, any questions by now? Okay. So when we speak about it, everything was there in perfect state, like a library of all the possible movies. And you know, today, when a movie comes out to the screens, or to the today's, some movies don't come to the screens, they go straight into your smartphone. Okay? Sometimes they come out with a different option for an ending. And you can choose which ending you want. Okay? So, all of these options today, because now you can contain so much information in every file, like not before. Before, remember, when I was a kid, every movie was on a reel. Remember, they call it reels. It was like big, heavy reels of tapes. and every minute was another half a kilo, something like this, of tape of a tape. Okay, so and now it's like in files that take no place, only in the imaginary world. Okay, well, our consciousness cannot perceive. You know, how can you push into a small smartphone or into the cloud so much information, thousands and thousands of hours of music and movies and stuff like this? Okay, but it's getting closer to the way it is in the real universe, so it helps us to understand wherever we are. So when we are born with all kinds of optional movies. Our job is just which one of them we want to activate. How do you activate them? Awareness, spiritual awareness can activate a higher dimensional universe that we experience. And how does that happen? באופן, in a way, שיש לנו להבחין שני עיקרים בכללות המציאות שלפנינו. In the reality in front of us, there are two essential perceptions. עיקר א', the first one, בבחינת מה שהם קבועים וקיימים באינסוף ברוך הוא, the way they are fixed and exist, fixed, which means they're not changing. In the endless blessed be, בכל שלמותם ותפארתם, with all their completion and beauty and glory. Which means every human being's library of movies, all of them lead towards perfection. That's a basic of monotheism. What does it mean? If everything is one, it means past, present, and future are also one. Not just all creatures are one. All creatures, past, present, and future is one. Everything is one. Okay? And if it's one in the beginning, it's always one. The fact that we are limited, we cannot see, we see only fragments of time, of reality, of perception, of understanding ourselves. It doesn't take anything away from how great and positive and complete and beautiful it is. Okay, that's why it says beautiful. Okay, when do you see things beautiful? So it says beauty, part of beauty is symmetry, harmony. Only when you reach the completion, you realize that all your life and your past lives were always beautiful and harmonized. But you didn't see that when it happened, because if you saw it, you won't have any free will. Okay? Free will is when you have the option to fail, to choose darkness over light. That's why we need a faulty brain, a brain that can have horrible reactions. Correct? Because if our brain was complete, where is the free will? How can we create light out of darkness, sweet out of bitterness? So one perception is to see all reality, past, present, and future, all dimensions, all universes, all souls, as they are at the source. All is one and perfect, everything looks great, nothing has a problem. Okay? But the other aspect is after, is כמות שהם ערוכים משתלשלים, the way they are aligned and evolved and renewing in front of us after the tzimtzum, after the contraction. בחמשת העולמות המכונים, in the 5 worlds called Adam Kadmon. Adam Kadmon means the prototype, like a prototype in English. It's like the prototype of all the universes. In simple Hebrew, it's Adam, a human, Kadmon, the previous, the one that predates everything. That's a prototype. The prototype of all the Sephirot, all the structures. Atzilut, the world of emanation. Bria, the world of creation. Yetzirah, the world of formation. Asiyah, the world of action. Again, The prototype, Adam Kadmon, Atzilut, emanation, Bria, creation, Yetzira, formation, Asiya, action. These are evolvement from above to below, from the light into reality, our reality. כמו שהתבהר להלן, as it's going to be explained later on. וזה שאמר הרב, and that's what the Rabbi Isaac Lurie said, אשר אור העליון הנמשך מעצמותו יתברך, היה ממלא כל המציאות, that the divine light that is extending from the essence of the Creator was filling, היה ממלא את כל המציאות, was filling all of reality. דהיינו כללות המציאות שבעיקר א', he was talking about the first principle, the first concept, that everything is one. It's all one. Monotheism. Everything is one in harmony. Okay? However, is there free will when everything is one in harmony? No. מבחינת מטרם הצמצום. That was before the צמצום, the contraction. ומשמיענו שהאור העליון היה ממלא אותם לגמרי. And it tells us that the divine light was filling them up completely. עד שלא נשאר בהם שום מקום פנוי. Till there's no available space, which means, in Hebrew, מקום פנוי means there's nothing to fix. It's all so perfect. There's nothing fixing. Nothing available for improvement. That's what makom panui. Makom panui simply is available space, but it also means in Hebrew there's nothing to fix. שיהיה אפשר להוסיף בהם שלמות ותיקון, that you can add up any completion, any correction. Okay. So basically, this is a very important concept, which means we understand from that concept that in order to have free will, all of the creation needed to create our limited brain and perception, so we cannot see reality the way it is. We can experience only fragments of reality. When we see only fragments of reality, then we get upset, scared, whatever, we get disconnected. We go into like horrible illusions that bring us to fear, lust, all kinds of emotions that are a result of stupidity, narrow-sighted, not being able to understand what's going on, not understanding what's the purpose behind it, which means later on we'll see that the whole book of the Tree of Life is about how do you create, or the Creator created a universe with enough darkness so we can get mixed up and have the opportunity for a free will to shine where there's darkness. Think about it. The endless light is so powerful, is so overwhelming, that when you are aware of it, there's no free will. You feel useless and nothing. To create a space in which you feel that you are an entity separated from the rest of the universe, that you can exist on your own without the rest of the universe, without any light outside of yourself, that you can even say, like the sages are saying, that Pharaoh was saying, I created myself. The pharaohs consider themselves, declare themselves as gods. And therefore, why do you think that every time Moses was sent to Pharaoh, he went in the morning? Because Pharaoh declared himself as a god. Therefore, in his apartment, there was no bathroom, because gods don't have to go to the bathroom. So Pharaoh needed to go every morning to the Nile just to contemplate about the beauty of the Nile. That was the place he went to the bathroom. And then Moses will wait for him over there and catch him in that humiliating moment and saying, hey, you're not God. I know you're not. Okay? So now I'm asking you, the real God is turning to you, let my people go. Okay? So, and so when Pharaoh says, I created the universe, I created myself, I'm a God, I'm the God, okay? How could somebody reach such a stupidity? Only if the Creator let the evolution process evolve to a place of such darkness that you can really think that that's possible. That you can be disconnected from the whole, from the endless light, from the creation, from the Creator. If you don't have such a dark moment or a dark space in your awareness, you have no ability to gain the victory over that darkness by free will. So therefore, we understand that we need the fragmentation of the universes and humanity, so we can reach divinity and acquire it by ourselves. And we'll talk about it in the next few sessions. Any questions? Okay, if that is so clear, thank you so much.
No, I have a question.
Okay.
Okay, so my question is, does this mean that when we go to sleep and we wake up, that we could be possibly in another parallel world with the same things going on, but not knowing that we're in another world?
So the Arizal is speaking about it, saying, a human being can go to sleep and meditate and contemplate, and really you can even not just be in totally another world, you can go to sleep with a nefesh and wake up with a ruach. You can go to sleep, you're part of Olam Asiyah, and you wake up, you're already in Olam Yetzirah. Okay? But but you don't have to go to sleep. You can just, in the middle of action, when you are so involved with something, and then you realize and you catch that moment, and you rise to the occasion, and from nervousness, upset, hatred, and frustration, you reach out and you are sent to a place of awe. Wow, everything just again, I feel the presence of the Creator with me. I know everything is with a purpose. And then you go to that moment of sublime awareness and quiet acceptance, knowing that everything is under control, everything is okay, and everything is going to be okay. You already moved to a parallel universe. You're not in the same universe because the previous universe was controlled by chaos. And right now, you feel control and positivity without you controlling. You know that everything is okay and you have trust. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, it's a very difficult concept to digest, to actually understand.
Exactly, but that's what we're here for. When we understand that, that's it. All the rest is like you can have like degrees upon degrees. Some people, I know people that they have a degree in economy and in law and in art and in biology and in medicine, and they're still not there. Okay, but the moment you reach that moment, you're there. I'm not saying you shouldn't do a degree, okay? But this is the essential, this is the necessity to reach that place in order to understand what's the purpose of reality, of creation, your purpose, what's your calling. It's amazing stuff. Okay?
Yes, very deep.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, so if everything we if everything we think and see is just an emanation from the creator, then it's true that we can't fully ever grasp or understand the full essence of the creator, correct?
No, we can never, because the creator himself, the essence, is endless. We
Right,
can experience only emanations, expansion, extensions from the creator because we are finite.
right,
Okay? Otherwise, we won't have any free will.
right. So my question is that true that we can't understand fully our fellow human beings the same way?
It's not our job. Our job is to be, again, so if you read the end of Ecclesiastics, סוף דבר הכל נשמע, את האלוקים ירא. The most, if you just want one line to sum up reality and human existence, have awe. That's it. The moment you have awe, all the rest looks so unimportant. You cannot really understand another human being. And why? Because the sages are saying, if you're not standing in his place, how can you understand him? And because you'll never be in his place. Why? Because you're not him. You will never be him and it will never be you. Okay? So having the humility that I cannot judge another human being because I'm not him. I don't know what he's really going through. I can somehow get close to it, but I can never be in his place. Why? Because that's his free will and my free will is another place. Okay?
Got it. Thank you.
So, Rab, I have another question.
Yes.
The essential step we have to do or to choose for changing from darkness to the light and to change this, the circumstances and to reach a new level is just the awe.
It's just what?
The awe.
Oh, yes.
It's just choosing that.
The state of mind that allows us to stop the rush, the anger, the confusion, the pain, whatever is dark, whatever is elusive, is called awe. In the moment I can ascend, overcome the noise and replace it with a place of awareness that everything is basically part of the creator, everything is from the creator, everything brings me over to the creator. So that's the only way to react to reality. Then the moment I'm transferred to the parallel universe that now I earned by me transforming, now the solutions are coming in. Suddenly I realize that there's another way to understand what's going on. There's another way to perceive what's going on. And it's not that painful as it used to be. Correct?
Amazing.
Okay. And that's why, that all of those ideas about coming outside the box, inspiration, okay, invention, it's all, how do you bring it in? Okay, you bring it in when you generate awe, then you create another reality. That's another parallel universe in which you think in such a different way that reality is transformed on the spot. And that is the definition of a real, true miracle. Because in Psalms, the word miracle, it's lanus velitnoses, to flee out and above a situation. And that's the same verb as nes, a miracle. So what is a miracle? When we flee out of our previous universe into a parallel universe in which we solve the problem by achieving awe and spiritual acceptance and enlightenment instead of the noise that replaced the noise that was part of our reality before. Why do we need such a universe? Because the victory of enlightenment and ascension is so rewarding. And then you feel like, wow, everything I went through, that was worth it. Okay?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It has been amazing. Thank you so much.
Any more questions? Okay. Hello, everybody, and have a great week.
Shavua Tov.
Shavua Tov.